they're not expecting necessarily retribution from Iran on this kind of scale. They're thinking that something might far more drastic might be awaiting in the coming days. They are prepared for it. They are bringing in extra troops to mitigate against it, but they still think that it was a gamble that was worth doing. One State Department official yesterday, in justifying what had happened with that airstrike, described it as weakness and timidity invites more aggression. We're speaking in a language that the Iranians understand. And as for why they decided to carry out the attack at this particular time, certainly the Washington Post are reporting today that Donald Trump was presented with a range of possible options to slap down the Iranians after what had happened with the siege outside the American embassy in Baghdad. And he chose the option which some of his predecessors in the past, as Mark Stone was referring to, had rejected. Now, that is typical of a president who likes to do things that others haven't done and is prepared to take a risk. And I think that what may have pushed the Americans into definitely going ahead with this airstrike was the fact that they thought it was quite brazen for Soleimani to be flying from Damascus into Baghdad in the open, and the opportunity was there to carry out a drone strike and to kill him. But they are prepared for repercussions over the coming days and weeks.
Ian, thanks very much. Well, the Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab will be giving his first TV interview since the crisis escalated to Sky Sophie Ridge. That'll be tomorrow morning from 8:30. And the Shadow Foreign Secretary Emily Thornbury will also be on the show. Now, there's been no respite for firefighters in Australia as record temperatures have helped spread the blazes engulfing the country. It reached 48.9 degrees in the Sydney suburb of Penrith. Bushfires are still burning in all states and territories right across Australia. However, the most serious and life-threatening are in New South Wales and Victoria. Sky's Alex Crawford's seen the scale of the fires from the air in Batemans Bay in New South Wales. But first, Sky's Tom Cheshire reports from Lake Fires in Victoria.
The firefight has begun, and Australia is bracing for the worst. Kangaroo Island, close to Adelaide in southern Australia, has already been devastated, with multiple deaths confirmed. In Victoria, in the southeast, they woke up to the now familiar smoke. Most people have evacuated Lake Tyers on the coast, but not all.
We've sent away all our staff, we've sent away our families just to be safe, and yeah, we wanted to stay here and to protect this place.
Your son's fighting the fires today?
Yeah, my boy Liam works for the Department of Land and Water. He's up at now. I gave him a good hug and a cuddle this morning, cooked him breakfast before he took off. It's worrying. He's going straight into the mouth of it. He's into the thick of it.
How old is he?
He's 20.
To the north, a small town called Nawa was under threat from a nearby blaze. The roads closed. But the water stretch inland to the town.
So as we've been heading up to Nawa, it's just coming up there. We've seen the water temperature increase. We're starting to feel the radiant heat from the fire that is behind the town. Now, skipper says he hasn't seen conditions like this. The wind is swirling about. Visibility, of course, very bad with the smoke. The temperature is increasing, and on either side, you've got extremely dry bush. This is potentially a very dangerous combination.
We arrived to another quiet town. This strike team of firefighters had been waiting for the worst. But the wind changed, the imminent danger passed. The fires are unpredictable. Fighting them is sometimes about chasing them.
The scale of the fires is stretching resources on the ground, and there are clearly communities that need additional help. And in response to that, we must move forward first as a Commonwealth, particularly with the work of our Defence Forces, and then integrate with the local operations that are in place in those local communities.
They're throwing everything they have, military helicopters included, to contain the fires. Today is about reacting as quickly as possible. Tom Cheshire, Sky News, Lake Tyers, Victoria.
The crews are heading into danger and almost certain whiteout. They are trying to contain fires which are moving with a frightening ferocity.
Thing is, this area doesn't even look as dry as other areas, and yet it's going up in flames.
They're working in stifling heat, with temperatures well over 40 degrees Celsius. He just dropped 3,500 litres then. It barely made a difference. The crews have to repeatedly refill, and still the fires keep coming. Bateman's Bay is a popular tourist destination, but the most intense blazes here have turned the skies a bright amber. The crews are manoeuvring near blind, dropping what seems like trickles of water in comparison to the giant bushfires. You can hardly make them out in the suffocating smoke fog as they try to stop the fire's relentless and unpredictable move towards homes and farms. Pilot James Williams is only 26, but he's clocked up a staggering number of hours in his short career battling the bushfires.
You've been shocked by what's been happening, what you've seen?
Yeah, it's shocking just how easy these fires have started and how quick they move, especially on a day like today. They cover, distances that you would never think of.
The damage is extensive.
Does it make you feel sad seeing that, James?
It is. It's devastating the amount of land that we've lost in all these fires.
But with winds of more than 80 miles per hour, the firefighting authorities simply can't keep up with the breakouts.
This is what the New South Wales fire authorities are having to put up with. These fires start from nowhere and they've gone and spread incredibly quickly. Very difficult for them to stop it.
But while bushfires rage in some areas, others just a few miles away are spared this time. And they're doing all they can to try to look after the starving and displaced wildlife. Dozens have been looked after here for the past 6 weeks as the fires rampage through their bush home. The family is intent on saving lives, both animal and human. 4 of them are volunteer firefighters, doing one of the most dangerous jobs in the state right now. And Mum Carrie and the 2 youngest want to join up as well.
With the climate change, we'll need more firefighters. It's going to become more of a... The southerlies hit. Oh, now the fire's going to come towards us.
That's quite a strong wind.
Oh, yeah. We've got a fire down at Mary Beach, so that'll be heading this way now. So, yep.
Someone has to do it.
Yeah, somebody has to do it.
Do you feel it's a community duty, almost?
Yeah, I guess.
What's the...
Yeah. Well, you can't all just stand and watch, because then what's going to happen if you do that?
But first they have to survive the fires circling them and causing so much smoke the sun disappeared mid-afternoon. Hundreds of homes have lost power and there are food shortages, with deliveries halted through road closures and businesses put in jeopardy.
The park across the road, everyone left there yesterday. The tourism in this area is being impacted big time, and it probably won't recover for a while.
And the fires are still not under control. Alex Crawford, Sky News in New South Wales, Australia.
Some breaking news to bring you coming from Iraq this evening, and in the last few moments Reuters is reporting that the Iraqi Prime Minister has declared 3 days of national mourning. That's for the deaths of Soleimani Mohandes, who is the leader of the Kataib Hezbollah, and the others that were killed in the US airstrike. We're also hearing that Iraq's Kataib Hezbollah militia has warned Iraqi security forces to stay at least a kilometre away from US air bases starting from Sunday evening. This in the wake, in the last hour or so, of an incident at one of America's air bases, which I'm just looking for the name of, Balad air base, which is around 50 miles outside of Baghdad, where 2 Katyusha rockets fell. and also a statement from the Foreign Minister, Javad Zarif, I should say. He's just tweeted saying 24 hours ago, an arrogant clown masquerading as a diplomat claimed people were dancing in the cities of Iraq. Today, hundreds of thousands of our proud Iraqi brothers and sisters offered him their response across their soil. End of US malign presence in West Asia has begun. So that's a significant statement from the Foreign Minister in the wake of the US killing yesterday of Soleimani, Mohandes and others. And just to reiterate and remind you, Iraqi Prime Minister declaring 3 days of mourning, and also the Kataib Hezbollah warning that Iraqi security forces should stay away from American air bases starting from tomorrow evening. To domestic issues now, and the Labour backbencher Lisa Nandy has joined us to lead the Labour Party, saying she's the candidate who can reconnect the party with the millions of voters who deserted Labour in the general election.
I think many of our members have felt frustrated for a very, very long time about a settlement in the Labour Party where decisions are made by a small group of people behind a desk in Victoria Street, rather than the change that is actually happening in our communities, that is being driven by activists and councillors. There was a real problem of trust for Labour. People wanted to see deep and fundamental change, radical change, but they didn't trust us to deliver it. And we should have been telling that story about how in almost every town and city across the UK where we are in power, Labour is delivering that change ourselves.
Well, there are now 4 candidates who have said that they want to take over from Jeremy Corbyn, as well as Lisa Nandy. Jess Phillips, Clive Lewis and Emily Thornberry have confirmed that they want the job, with more expected to declare tomorrow. Well, you're watching Sky News. Coming up after the break, why the number of 16 and 17-year-olds who have jobs has halved.
This could be the future of breast cancer diagnosis. Specialist doctors working side by side with artificial intelligence. Mammograms in the UK are currently analysed by 2 radiologists, but researchers found AI can perform this highly skilled job as well as doctors.
This is a really interesting example from the paper that's just been published that showed that the algorithm picked up a cancer here that all 6 experts missed. But below we see that all 6 experts picked this up as a cancer and the algorithm didn't identify it as a cancer. So what this shows is the importance of the human plus artificial intelligence system in actually coming up with the best diagnosis for the patient.
The study used mammograms from 101,000 women in the UK. The AI system produced 1.2% fewer false positives, where breast cancer is wrongly diagnosed in a healthy mammogram, and 2.7% fewer false negatives, where a cancer is missed. Developers hope artificial intelligence could improve the speed and accuracy of cancer diagnosis.
What happens at the moment in the UK is that we get women who come for screening, we detect a number of the cancers, but some of the cancers are not seen in the mammograms, and it looks as though the AI tool may be able to pick up some of those cancers.
More testing is planned, but the findings have been welcomed by Cancer Research UK. A spokesperson said, "This is still early stage research, but it shows how AI could improve breast cancer screening and ease pressure off the NHS. While further studies are needed to see how and if this technology would work in practice, the initial results are promising. Diagnosis will always be made by doctors, but artificial intelligence is likely to guide and help their decisions in the future."